Hello, I'm Leigh Carver and I have the honour to be directing the world premiere of Vanguard Nights at the Islington Everyman. Well, I can't tell you how I felt when our casting director phoned up to say that he had agreed to it. He has such a position in our industry, an Oscar-winning Hollywood actor, but also a man of great humanity. He espouses a lot of the same causes that I do. He's been a great voice for Irish Americans, for women in the industry, and it'll be very nice to have a little bit of that stardust sprinkled on stage in Islington. It is difficult when you're staging a work by somebody that you know and love and trust as much as I do, Ruth Davenport. I've championed her career from the off. She's just such a vital, ferocious, indispensable voice in contemporary drama. So there's always the worry that you're maybe a little bit too close to it, that somehow you'll miss something. But I think Ruth wants us to be courageous with this work. So I think English people particularly have a very cloudy view of what went on over there, and I think it's important that they discover the truth of what happened with our next door neighbours. I think it is particularly important at this moment in time. I think the post-Brexit disaster that we're all living through, the problems that has caused in Northern Ireland, the threat that it has to the peace process, I think now is a time for progressive voices to rage against the tide of right-wing nationalism. The sheer quantity of Irish people who helped build London that we all take for granted in our very privileged lives. These poor wretches who came over with, not tuppence to tap off a tombstone, as they'd say themselves, and yet they've been responsible for so much of our culture, so much of our industry, and theirs is a troubled and complex history. And I think we owe it to them to roll our sleeves up and get into the guts of that history along with them. My biggest hope is that this play forms part of a general cultural resistance to the horrors of what it is that we're seeing play out in Britain today. Ireland has been the cradle of civil war for so long, and I would hope to see Britain, which has obviously had such a gigantic and quite shameful history of global domination, going the same way. In terms of fears for it, I think my biggest fear is that in rehearsal we just care too much. I would hope that this isn't seen as something parochial. I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be a huge cultural explosion going off in the middle of London, not to labour the Troubles analogy too far.